Hello, hello. Famicon here again, and I've got another little showcase of some books. And the theme for today, um, basically weird, weird shit. Because I was looking through my collection and going through all the art books and the manga and everything like that. And I also did ask on Instagram as well what people wanted to see. And someone asked, well, the weirdest stuff in my collection. Which, to be honest, when I was looking through everything, I don't think I actually have that many weird books, manga, art books. A lot of my collection is like, in terms of proportions, um, a lot of it is more contemporary manga, and I would say maybe 40% is like the old Gekiga or Eroguro alternative stuff. So pretty balanced. But I dug out my shelves and found whatever I could in terms of the weirdest stuff that I've read and looked over in the past year or so. And I've come up with a couple of different things. Right. So over on the right, we have not a mangaka, but an artist, an illustrator, Yosuke Inoue, who does a lot of illustrations. He did picture books as well, and we'll go through that first. And then some family restaurant and some Tani Hiroji. All right, so let's start off with Yosuke Inoue. Um, yeah, the definition of weird is subjective because maybe it's just me, but I might be used to a lot of things or desensitized to a lot of things as well. So not much eroguro weirds me out anymore. Heta Uma is I love Heta Uma, so I maybe that's why I couldn't really find anything that was like weird because yeah, I just like that sort of stuff. So this here is a little tiny art book published by Tom's Box titled Dessin by Yosuke Inoue. And I don't really know too much about Inoue, so I did look up a few things. He was born in 1931 and he had passed away in 2016. There is still a Twitter account run by his eldest daughter who posts up his artworks on Twitter, so I can put that in the description. But yeah, he does a lot of like very dark and weird. So this is from 1993. Some works from 1993. But you can take a look now and see what sort of style he has. Extremely dark, strange, mysterious, and they're all dated as well. But I found out about him. Well, I was just on Mandarake to be honest, just looking around and stuff. And his art books appeared. Because, yes, he does have a lot of art books. And he also does picture books as well. To be honest, I don't have any picture books, so I don't know how crazy they are because that other big book that I had at the beginning, that's where it gets crazy. This book, the Dessins, the sketches, not really too crazy, but it's a very, to me at least, very satisfying art style. But yeah, um, Yosuke Inoue, I know as well, he did some works for Black Magazine, which was, I'm not entirely sure the dates of when it was running, maybe 70s, 80s. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to check and add it in the description. But he contributed some works in Black Magazine, and what that magazine focuses on is like erotic content or avant-garde artworks, illustrations, photography. You would find people like Toshio Saeki in there, Keiichi Tanami. Sometimes you could find Mizuki Shigeru too as well, but yeah, Inoue was in that magazine. I'm assuming as well he posted some stuff. Not posted, sorry. He contributed some stuff to other, you know, erotic magazines as well. But yeah, this one's a great book, very tiny, but it's a good introduction into Inoue's work. So you'll be seeing a lot of this sort of style in that big book I have, which we'll go through later. But yeah, great stuff. Not really any themes connecting this book here, but pretty much just sketches, mini works, that sort of thing. So yeah, there you go. That is Dessin. So now we move on to this big one. All right, so this here is just the Yosuke Inoue works or collection of works. And I can't really show the, so this is the cardboard box that it comes in. That's the cover. I can't show, I'll have to block it off. But here is the cover of the actual book. And here is the back. So inside this book, it gets crazy. I don't think I can show a lot of things, but I will be careful. So I'll be, pulling the book in and out sometimes. This is the very first page. Yeah, I gotta be careful with this one. A lot of them I just can't show at all. I think this should be okay. There are some color pages in here. Yeah, extremely dark art. This one is 1971. Oop. No, I can't show that. It's a bit too much. Oh, this one's a good one to show. Yeah, only a couple of color pages in this one. But all of them are very nice. The rest of them are black and white. And there's even like this sort of, not really manga, but a story, one short story in here. But amazing stuff. Extremely dreamlike. Well, nightmare fuel, essentially. The bad type of dream. And oh, I can't show that either. All right. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't show the rest of the color works. So we move on to some of the black and white stuff. So some introductory sketches, but trust me, it gets crazier than that because you will see stuff like this. This is probably, these two are one of my favorites, or some of my favorites from the art book as well. So detailed. You can just stare at this for ages. It's like a hellscape, to be honest. You'll find that there are a lot of these like oval shaped heads in the Inoue's artworks. Yeah, absolutely insane. So I've got another example of that as well. Sorry about the glare. I'll try to get rid of that. But yeah, you could stare at this for ages, ages and ages. I would honestly get a poster of this if they existed, but unfortunately they don't. Okay, so we'll skip ahead. A couple of more simple sketches. There is one other art book that I want to get from Inoue, but it's extremely expensive and it's hard to find. I think last time it was like I saw last time there was one online for like more than $100, which yeah, not my priority right now with his works, but eventually, one day, if I do find it cheaper, I'll pick it up because that one has like more colored art pieces in the book. I think maybe most of it are in full color in the art book. So one day. Got a lot of a little bit explicit there. I'll skip over some stuff. And okay, now we arrive at the manga, so-called manga. This is a story that is read from right to left. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a rip there. Got this used. So we start over here, and there's this, like, I don't know, fruit with... Oh, wait, I just realized. Yeah, it says bingo, which means apple. Okay, so this is an apple. An apple with some seeds, holes in them. They shoot off, and yeah, it's an extremely surreal story, but I'll just flick through it. And you can sort of see what unfolds. Now I'll bring this closer. That's so nice. So nice. I love the very straight lines he uses for the background. Contrasts pretty well. There we go, we move on. Yeah, very nonsensical. At times I'm reminded of Sasaki Maki. At times, with how random and nonsensical some of his works can be. But yeah, we'll zoom in into some of his works. I only have this book and the other Dessin book from him. None of his picture books yet. So maybe in the future I'll pick them up. Because I don't know if they're in the same vein as this sort of atmosphere. Oh man, this is amazing. I love this. These two panels here. Like a sort of cult thing. Morning something. A long procession. And then you have the man sort of get pushed under the waves. And the ending with the apple, him inside the apple, inside what looks like a man. Very confusing. Don't know what's going on, but extremely mesmerizing to look at. So yeah, that's the only story in this art book. All the other stuff are more sketches, more illustrations. Yeah, I don't think I've heard too much about Inoue. Like, I haven't really heard anyone talk about him before, so not entirely sure if he's well known overseas. But I hope this puts some people on to his artworks, because they very much deserve the spotlight. Yeah, like when I mentioned before about Sasaki Maki, like these sort of wavy lines in the background and very desolate landscapes do remind me of like the tiny panels you would see in Sasaki's manga. But yeah, all right. I think the rest of them are a bit. I can't really show them. But what's cool is that in this in that book, it came with like a poster, which I can't show fully, but I'll do it half and half. It's a calendar, so it folds up, and I'll show the back of it. But I love the colors here, extremely dark. But yeah, it came with a poster um, of his works, and in each date, you have a piece of artwork. So that was extremely nice. Was not expecting that. I would frame it if I could, but I don't have the space. Let me just zoom in for some more detail. But yeah, that was Yosuke Inoue. And let me just quickly pull this up. It's just the back of it. I can't really read it. I'm guessing. Okay, so 1931 he was born. Sort of timeline of things. But there you go. Right, yep, that was Yosuke Inoue. Very dark imagery, but extremely fun to look at. Okay, so let's move on to the next artist and manga. I have posted about all of these books, by the way, in this video, but this is, oh, the manga in question here is called My Name is Raisin Rum, Raisin Rum Tomoshimasu, and the mangaka goes by the name of Family Restaurant. I'm not entirely sure what that means, why they chose that name, but this book here is signed by them, 2022, and Family Restaurant is actually quite a recent entry into the scene, maybe a couple years ago, in Axe. So this is just one of the issues. They didn't debut in this one. I'm not sure when they debuted, but this is just an example of what a cover by them looks like. So 2020, issue 134 of Axe magazine with a cover by Family Restaurant, and it only had a very short story from them in this issue, which is also in the tankobon as well. But if you notice, it is, yes, very heta-uma, but notice how the texture of some of the characters are a little bit different. I believe they actually combine, uh, drawing the actual characters as well and sculpting. So what I mean by that is at the back of this book here, if I were to go here, yep, here is a photograph of Family Restaurant. So the mangaka is on the left over here, and he and his family, his wife and his child is serving as models right now. And you notice here a gigantic sculpture of Raisin Rum. That's her right there, right? So it seems like, yes, I can't tell what material that is, but they combine the traditional, drawing on paper and all that type of stuff with photographs of sculptures. And this stuff gets like absolutely insane sometimes. So this book here is a collection of short stories, but there is the titular Raisin Rum story. So let me just quickly get rid of the obi. Okay, here we go. So the first couple of stories are, singular one shots over here, and yeah, when it gets to, I think on this side, it gets crazy. So the first story, oh, I had to check it as well, because yeah, there is some nudity and some explicit stuff too, but it is so weird. Like, Yosuke Inoue was weird, like a dark sort of weird. Family Restaurant is just pure randomness. I can't even. I don't know how to describe it, to be honest. It's like gag. It's like they do a lot of gag stories, so comedic one shots and stuff. But I'm going to show. Okay, yeah, this story here. I didn't really get too much, but it follows a couple, so husband and wife, and they go out filming their own movie. So the art style is actually very fun, but the stories themselves are so crazy. They like do crazy stuff for their movie, and you see this like their faces devolve sometimes, which actually does contribute to the humor, at least for me. And yeah, this was a really weird one, just them filming um, their life, their adventures, I guess. Extremely weird. And then going on to this one, ooh, This is probably the weirdest story in the entire book. Dekun Nikun, I believe that's pronounced. Um, it's this creature that's like a human and a bird thing. I can't tell if it's a costume or if they're combined. But here we go. We are following. Yeah, it is a creature. Like it's got two heads essentially. Its body is a head too. They're oh, they're running away from this hunter. who is chasing them in the on top of a mountain somewhere, and a bear appears out of nowhere and attacks the hunter, allowing the bird creature human thing to swallow, or not swallow him, essentially kill him. But oh man, how do I censor this? I will do this. Right, and so he's on his deathbed, and as he is dying, the bird creature pisses in his mouth. Oh, I just realized I didn't fully censor that. I'll have to blur that somehow in post. But yeah, that was probably the weirdest story out of everything. Crazy, crazy stuff. Yeah, it felt like they sort of did a wheel of fortune thing. Whatever it landed on, they just like chuck a couple of random things into a story. But it's actually kind of, a bit comedic, very weird. But the art style did definitely grow on me over time. So yeah, I'll skip over some stuff. There's weird battles with gigantic monsters and all that. Oh, I don't know what happened in this one, but it was fun. Like the art devolves and it goes super detailed again with the sculptures, and then it devolves again. You've got like giant monster fights, weird stuff. But I'll move over to the titular story of Raisin Rum. So Raisin Rum is just the woman here, and she's very outgoing, and you see more of the sculptures appearing. And essentially, it's like an episodic sort of story. Every chapter, she has some adventures, meets some characters, but there is an overall plot that comes into play later towards the end. Oh, this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, double page spreads in the entire book. She's like being chased right now by a vampire or a demon, followed by this weird rabbit thing. But eventually, all these characters somehow go into hell to rescue one of the guys' relatives, sisters, something like that. And of course, Raisin Rum is just chilling. She does not care about anything. They enter hell. They do a couple of things. A couple of weird things, but yeah, they meet a giant baby in hell. I gotta censor this, I can't show that. So we'll move on. There's like a bathhouse scene, and we now change to a different color for the print. They get sucked in this whirlpool. Oh, and they essentially meet this gigantic demon as well. A lot of demons in the story. Apparently, she's being kept hostage, and they devise a plan to sort of swap her out with a mold of herself so she can escape. They start digging. A lot of teamwork here, wholesome stuff. And they proceed to escape hell and save her. But yeah, this is probably one of the weirdest manga I've ever read. I don't know if anything even comes close to this. And it definitely was entertaining. Like, it wasn't bad. Definitely not. It was random. It was weird. It was wacky, but very, very entertaining to read. Yeah, it ends in a happy ending for everyone. They're all saved, and they live happily ever after. So yeah, I did get. I read this earlier this year as well. This is the only tankobon released by Family Restaurant to my knowledge. I haven't seen them recently in any Axe issues, in like the 2023 Axe issues, but I honestly really want another book from them because it's so unique and it's actually really fun. So I highly recommend, you know, to pick this up, even if you don't understand what's going on, because I feel like no one would. It's just very random, but it's a very fun adventure type story mixed with some gag and humorous stuff. So yeah, that was the second mangaka for today, second weird showcase. Now moving on to the third, we have Guns and Roses by Tani Hiroji, who had debuted in, I think, Garo in 1970. And you also do see some of his works in Axe as well. In my previous Garo flip throughs, there were some stories by Hiroji in them as well. But yeah, Guns N' Roses is the titular story, and it's also got some miscellaneous one shots as well. But the reason why I chose this as, being weird is because I don't know. To be honest, personally, I don't think it's weird, but I think it's just a unique sort of art style in story that they put out, because essentially the titular story of Guns and Roses follows a detective, or like our main characters in the middle. We have like an escaped slave, got the police, and you've got Madame Cirque Kiruke. Yeah, Madame Kiruke. I'm just gonna call her the Madam, and Temujin, who is her sort of servant thing. And essentially, the story is the Madam is running like a sex dungeon, which mutates its slaves and its victims to, essentially, they mutated them for the purpose of sexual pleasure, and one of the slaves escapes from the dungeon. So the art's actually so nice. It's very nice. And yeah, the slaves comes into contact with our main character, and there's this whole thing where she explains what had happened to her. Quite sad with some stuff, but I'll have to not show. Oh, I can't show much of that. But she explains how in the dungeon, in Madam's dungeon, all of these people are mutated and used as sex slaves. And she herself was mutated as well. And she gained an extra eye. So you can sort of leave that, I'll leave that to your imagination. But the art is amazing. But yeah, obviously extremely inhumane. You're doing experiments on all these people, and it is quite sad because they bond over that. To be honest, before I continue, I didn't really like this story too much because it felt like I appreciated the art a lot, but it felt like the pacing was a little bit off. Wasn't as exciting as it sounds. So I appreciated this more for the art than anything else. But yeah, I'll skip over to the parts where they actually, enter the dungeon. So just 1 second. Yeah, and I do have to be careful as well. There's a lot of genitalia and some stuff I can't show on YouTube. But essentially, they infiltrate with the police the dungeon, and an all-out battle ensues. So, big fights, amazing art, extremely detailed. Every single sort of white space is filled in this book. But yeah, a lot of violence, a lot of violence. Basically, go in and kill all the employees there. There's a big face-off, like a big fight between these two characters here as well. The action's pretty good too. Great stuff. Yeah, unfortunately the story was not my thing, but still quite entertaining to look at the art in detail and all the fights. And then we have the final sequence, which ends up in a big... Oh, sorry, that's not the final sequence. It continues. And he eventually kills him with a kick to the back of the head. Big explosion of blood. Okay, so continuing on. Ooh, okay, these panels are great. A lot of very scenic landscapes. So this is the main castle of the madam with her sex dungeon and a lot of stuff there. I'll have to cover it. Sorry about all the censorship. But look at that. A lot of, phallic things in this garden. Because of course, the sexual themes of everything. But I'll flick through these. I'll put it at... Yeah, there we go. These are where all the slaves are sort of kept. And they're fed essentially like waste. This is at like the bottom of the castle somewhere. They're fed waste, as you can see there. So extremely, extremely inhumane. That's why everyone is, going in and storming the castle. So there you go. Yeah, the ending itself isn't really great either. It is a little bit open-ended. I'm not sure this had a continuation. I don't think so. So more police forces come in, and then there's a few sexy things which I can't show, but look at this panel. It's just a flurry of violence, chaos. He's driven by revenge and rage, by the way, because they managed to kill the escapee that he saved. So it is quite sad. He goes up, destroys so much of the castle. We'll just have to... Nope. Too many sexy things here. And yeah, they're fighting everywhere. They're fighting on these canopies, on roofs. The police are going everywhere. They've got helicopters in Mount Fuji, sort of in the background. You get insane. And it's finally this like sound effect in that explosion. That's a nice addition. Got shoot-offs as well. With no, not shoot-offs, sorry. Sword fight. Pretty cool. On top of a roof. It's like a movie. But yeah, I love the way Hiroji sequences and panels his fights. They're extremely fun to look at. But yeah, I will move on. I will move on because, of course, that's not the end of this tankobon. So the ending of the story is spoilers, they don't catch the madam, and she escapes. It sort of ends there. You know, the threat she has to the world is still out there, and it sort of just ends there. But yeah, that was the big story there. Took up most of the book. Now we get into different one shots, right? And these were my favorite things to look at in this book. So sorry for all the, I don't know if these page sounds are too loud, but this one here is a silent, wordless chapter. I love these so much. Very mysterious. But the art gets a lot more weirder, a lot more surreal in these stories at the back. There you go. This is where it gets crazy. Very dreamlike things. You've got this woman in his eye. Seems to be like a sort of robot. There we go. This is the stuff I like. I can't explain to you what the stories are about, unfortunately, because they are a little bit confusing and wild, but something to do with the soul, I believe. But yeah, I would just let you marvel at the art here, because later on there's also like a Lovecraft sort of tribute as well. Great stuff. This reminds me of what's his name? The mangaka who did Ultra Heaven. Keiichi Koike, maybe? Like psychedelic stuff? Yeah, that's the word, psychedelic. That describes the artwork very nicely, I think. Yeah, I'm just taking my time here. I do in the future want to get more tankobons from Tani Hiroji. Although I don't know how many he has. I know definitely that he has more. Not entirely sure how prolific he was with the manga he created, but the art style alone makes it worth it to get more of his stuff. So I do recommend his works. Psychedelic. There we go. But yeah, so we move on now to I think the last chapter, which is like a Lovecraft tribute sort of thing, where Lovecraft is a character in the story. Oh, gets transported by a book to this otherworldly city with pyramids, tentacles, everything. Different creatures. Again, mostly wordless. But check out that detail. Love the framing of that. You know, Lovecraft falling down in the middle. These also remind me a little bit of Berserk with the eclipse as well. It's pretty cool. Got a little bit of a metamorphosis happening. Some mind expanding third eye type stuff. And yeah, there you go. That's the Lovecraft chapter. And an afterword by Hiroji. So this was published 1993. So quite an old book. But yeah, Tani Hiroji is, although I didn't like the first story too much. Definitely a very entertaining read for the rest of the book too. So yeah, those were the three mangaka: Tani Hiroji, Yosuke, sorry, Family Restaurant, and Yosuke Inoue. So yeah, it's I, I did aim for like a sort of a weird, weird books themes, but maybe it's just me. I can't find any weird books in my collection because I just generally don't think they're weird, and I think they're amazing. And you know, I think it's just my taste. So I don't really know what is weird in my collection anymore. But yeah, that was the video for today. Highly recommend. Um, Definitely Tani Hiroji if you want very detailed artworks, which are very psychedelic. Yosuke Inoue if you want some dark, gritty stuff like this. And Family Restaurant if you want the most random adventures you will ever see in manga, with a very heta-uma art style combined with sculptures from the mangaka themselves. So yeah, that was today's video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.